Yo, what's going on YouTube? Today we're going to be sculpting Ahsoka Tano. She's one of my favorite Star Wars characters, and the new show coming out. By the time this video is up, the new show will have already been released. But I've been wanting to learn how to sculpt characters for a little bit instead of just box modeling like cartoon characters. I want to learn how to sculpt and make a little bit more detailed characters for the future. I figured it was a good time just to start learning, and then over the years to come we'll just keep practicing it. The sculpting tab in Blender is a little bit, or I should say has been intimidating for me. Like, I've completely avoided it besides one pizza that I sculpted following a tutorial. But I haven't done any character sculpting or anything like that. But it was honestly really fun, and part of it was that I had no idea like what most of the tools did, so I was just trying different tools, seeing what worked, and intuitively, like based off their names, what made sense to try in certain spots. So if you're really good at sculpting and you're watching this, it's probably going to be a little bit hard to watch, but I'd appreciate some tips if you can drop them in the comments below. Because like I said, I was just trying random things and seeing how it all came together. I was honestly probably working against myself at times too, but it's alright, it's all part of the learning process. Anyways, I'm glad to see Ahsoka get like a big mainstream show. She was obviously in the Clone Wars animated series. I don't know if you consider that like huge mainstream or not, but I imagine this live action show is going to be a lot bigger than that, especially with how like the Mandalorian and the Obi-Wan show did. And like her whole character arc is really cool and interesting, and she plays an important role, which I'm definitely not here to explain all that. She's definitely one character I think that's deserving of a mainstream show and or movie. Obviously it's the show, but they also picked a great actor in is it Dawson? Yes, it's Rosario Dawson. But literally, there's no way they messed this show up. I'm just going to say it right now. And by the time the season is over, and if they mess it up somehow, which will literally be impossible, then y'all can roast me for this. But there's literally no way they can mess this up with Dave Filoni working on it. But we will see. I did watch the first 2 episodes upon release, and I was very happy with them. It was kind of a weird timing. I was explaining this to my friend Mario that I randomly started watching Clone Wars a few years ago. Just out of the blue, I was looking for some Star Wars content. I was kind of just like only the movie watcher kind of person, but I was interested in the characters more. And so I came across the Clone Wars, and I just like totally got way into it and binged through the entire thing. And right when I finished, I think it was season 6 or something like that, or season 5, is when they started announcing that they were going to do one more season of it. It was just like random timing. And so the same thing happened with Rebels. I literally started watching it last year, or maybe a little bit over a year ago now. But after I finished it, they announced they start showing the trailers for the Ahsoka show, and it's got like the Rebels people in it and stuff, which is so sick. It was kind of cool timing for me to randomly get into both of the animated shows, and then for them to become very relevant with like live action Disney shows. Even with the Mandalorian, like when Bo-Katan showed up for the first time, like if I didn't watch Clone Wars, I would have had no idea who that was. So my friend was also explaining, because he's huge into comics, that when some of like the characters that don't have big movies or shows, they finally get a show or something like that and it's successful, it's really cool. Like Daredevil, for example, he put me on Daredevil, and I would have never known about that without the show and without him telling me about him. And his character is super sick. I love that show. But it's gonna be cool for just casual Star Wars fans and just anybody new or interested and doesn't know Ahsoka's character to learn more about her. And obviously it's a new story, like continuing. So it's all very fresh content wise in the Star Wars world. But as for like sculpting, back to sculpting, sorry I went on a huge rant about like TV shows and stuff. A few of the challenges I was having while sculpting were trying to get like creases and more defined areas. I started to get a little bit better at this point in the video, between the top and bottom of the lips, as well as like the side where the lips meet with the cheek. But with more practice and over time, I'll get better at that. And eventually when I get a better computer, I'll be able to rig up characters with this many vertices. I'm pretty sure my computer might explode trying to animate a character with this many vertices, but eventually we'll be able to put those 2 pieces together, which I'm looking forward to. So next up, I tried to define the eyelids a little bit more and make them a little bit more puffy, as well as the cheekbone. And then also kind of bring in or concave around the eye a little bit more, like the eye socket area. Just bring it in a little bit more around the nose as well, define the nose, like bone, whatever that's called, I'm sorry. And I also had to bring the forehead out just a little bit as well. I do want to just say as well real quick that I'm sorry that I'm kind of hopping around a lot. That was one thing that did help me finish this piece though, was not getting stuck on one area for too long. So I'd work on the lips for a little bit, but then it would all just be kind of like the same after a while. So I would just go to the nose and then back to the lips and then to the eyes. You guys get it. So after playing around the eye area for a little bit, I decided I wanted to add the texture paint for like the white markings on her face, as well as to darken her lips. So this is really easy. I just sketched out the area of the markings and then drew it on like really sloppily, and then just brought in a brush that is the same as the skin color just to sharpen up our lines a little bit more. And then the same for our forehead, or for her forehead rather. And then it started to look a little bit more like Ahsoka. After the texture paint, I ended up using a hair particle system to create some eyelashes, just to add a little bit more detail for our character. I've also been working on practicing like hairstyles and just working with the hair particle systems in general, so that's also why I wanted to work with this. Because sometimes working with the hair systems just is super painful and annoying. But I'm trying to get better at it so that there is less of those painful experiences. Alright, so next up we have the top of her head, or like the tentacle sort of things, whatever you want to call them. And at first glance I thought the base color was just kind of like this white pasty color, but upon further look it kind of looks like there's a slight blue hue to it, as well as like a pink on the inside. So that's what I set as my base layer. And then obviously we went around and did the dark blue stripes. Some of them I tried to follow our reference image, but some of them I just kind of went along, just made up something random, especially when we went to the backside. Just because it was practice. If it was something actual, I'd pull up a full reference image for that, just to get it more accurate. But that was pretty much it. That's all I was going to do, just to practice, was to make the head for Ahsoka. I ended up going ahead and just trying to sculpt a body before. I've never sculpted a body either before. So kind of just like I did with Ahsoka's face, I just tried different things, adding layers, creasing different spots, just to try to make some folds that are in the robe that she wears, or like cloak, whatever, or tunic. I know I just named like 3 different fashion pieces, but you guys get the idea. So although it's not perfect, this was a good first step and definitely got me more intrigued and wanting to make more characters this way. So I'm definitely going to have some more videos coming soon, sculpting some characters. I think like the 2 kind of areas that I'm going to work on are going to be some more rappers as well as Star Wars characters probably. But if you guys have any suggestions, go ahead and drop them in the comments below, and I'd be happy to at least consider them and add them to my list. But I appreciate you guys watching, and if you made it this far and you guys enjoyed, please drop a like and subscribe. Go ahead and check the description below for a Gumroad. I will have some stuff going up there soon, and I hope you guys all have a lovely day, and we'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.